Imagine for a moment that your body is a finely tuned orchestra, each cell and fiber performing its intricate dance. And yet, as the years pass, the tempo changes, the instruments tire, and the music can lose some of its clarity. But what if I told you that after 60, you have not reached the finale, but a new movement? A chance to cultivate strength, resilience, and vitality in ways your younger self could only dream of. Science is now revealing that age is not merely a period of decline, but a landscape of possibility, where certain habits can fundamentally reshape the way your body and mind endure. Movement after 60 is far more than a physical necessity. It is a dialogue with the very structure of the body, a conversation in which every motion sends a message to muscles, bones, and connective tissues about what they are capable of and what they can endure. As we age, the natural decline in muscle mass and bone density can feel inevitable. Yet modern research reveals a remarkable truth. The body retains the ability to adapt, to rebuild, and even to grow stronger well into later decades. Every controlled movement, every deliberate stretch or lift, is an invitation for the body to resist the forces of time and maintain its functional integrity. Walking, when done with mindful attention, engages a complex array of muscles, tendons, and joints, stimulating blood flow, improving cardiovascular health, and sending signals to the nervous system that coordination and balance remain priorities. Resistance training, often mistakenly thought to be the domain of the young or athletic, has profound effects on strength, posture, and metabolic regulation. Lifting even moderate weights or engaging in bodyweight exercises triggers the production of proteins that repair muscle fibers and fortify connective tissues. It strengthens not only the muscles themselves, but the tendons and ligaments that stabilize the joints, reducing the risk of falls and injuries that become more consequential with age. The physiology underlying this is elegant. Mechanical stress on muscle cells activates satellite cells, specialized stem cells capable of regenerating fibers and restoring function. This cellular response, once thought to diminish dramatically after midlife, persists and can be harnessed through consistent, safe exercise practices. Flexibility and mobility, often overlooked, are equally critical. Stretching maintains the elasticity of muscles and the range of motion of joints, preventing stiffness that can limit independence and subtly degrade quality of life. Equally important is the neurological aspect. The brain and spinal cord coordinate complex patterns of movement, and repeated practice reinforces these neural pathways, preserving balance, reaction time, and proprioception, the body's internal sense of where it exists in space. Movement, then, is not simply a way to burn calories or build visible muscle. It is a comprehensive stimulus that engages the musculoskeletal system, the nervous system, and even hormonal signaling, prompting adaptations that ripple throughout the body. It becomes a form of communication with oneself, a recognition that the body is not a fragile vessel, but a dynamic system capable of responding to challenge. When approached with mindfulness, regularity, and respect for personal limits, motion transforms from a routine activity into a sustaining force, preserving independence, enhancing vitality, and reminding the mind and body that the capacity for strength, balance, and resilience is not surrendered with age, but can be intentionally nurtured. Nutrition after 60 is far more than a daily obligation. It is an intricate dialogue between the foods we choose and the inner machinery of the body. A conversation that determines how energy flows, how tissues repair, and how cells communicate. As we age, the efficiency of digestion, nutrient absorption, and cellular repair begins to shift, making the quality and composition of our diet profoundly influential on health and vitality. Proteins, for instance, become a cornerstone of resilience because they supply the building blocks for repairing muscles, maintaining bone density, and supporting enzymes that regulate countless metabolic processes. Research shows that older adults often require higher quality protein at each meal to stimulate muscle synthesis effectively. And sources such as lean meats, fish, legumes, and dairy provide both amino acids and essential micronutrients. Beyond protein, the body's antioxidant defenses are critical in counteracting the low-level, chronic inflammation that tends to rise with age. Vitamins like C and E, minerals such as selenium, and phytonutrients found in colorful fruits and vegetables help neutralize reactive molecules that can damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes, slowing cellular wear and maintaining organ function. Healthy fats, often misunderstood in popular diet trends, play a central role as well, particularly omega-3 fatty acids, which support cardiovascular integrity, cognitive function, and the delicate structure of cell membranes. Hydration, too, becomes an increasingly vital component. Water is not simply a fluid to quench thirst, but a medium that enables nutrient transport, waste removal, and temperature regulation, all of which are essential for the proper functioning of tissues and organs. The timing and balance of meals also influence metabolism, hormone regulation, and energy stability. Complex carbohydrates and fiber stabilize blood sugar, support gut microbiota, and contribute to cardiovascular and digestive health, illustrating that nutrition is a systemic conversation rather than an isolated act of consumption. Furthermore, the act of eating itself, approached mindfully, becomes an opportunity to sense the body's needs, to respond to hunger and satiety cues, and to reinforce the connection between the choices we make and the effects they produce on our vitality. In this sense, nutrition is both a science and a subtle practice of awareness. Every bite carries signals to the cells about growth, repair, and resilience. The food we provide ourselves after 60 shapes the brain, heart, muscles, and immune system simultaneously, creating a foundation for continued strength, clarity, and energy, and reminding us that nourishment is not only sustenance, but a deliberate cultivation of well-being and a tangible form of self-respect. The mind, like the body, thrives on challenge and stimulation, and after 60, deliberate mental engagement becomes not just a pastime, but a vital strategy for sustaining cognitive vitality. Neuroscience has shown that the brain maintains remarkable plasticity well into later life. The networks of neurons continue to form new connections, strengthen existing pathways, and adapt to new experiences. This capacity, called neuroplasticity, is influenced by how much we challenge ourselves, how often we learn, and how deeply we engage with ideas and skills that are unfamiliar. Learning a new language, mastering a musical instrument, or even navigating the complexities of technology engages multiple regions of the brain simultaneously, promoting not only memory, but also attention, problem-solving, and coordination between hemispheres. Memory exercises, puzzles, and strategy games stimulate neural circuits involved in recall, pattern recognition, and executive function, keeping these systems active and resilient. Cognitive activity is also closely linked to emotional and social well-being. When we engage in meaningful thought, reflection, or creativity, we activate reward centers in the brain, which release neurotransmitters that enhance mood and motivation, while reducing stress-related chemical activity that can otherwise erode neural health. The process of mental engagement, therefore, is both structural and chemical, influencing the growth of dendrites, the branching projections that transmit signals between neurons, and encouraging the production of neurotrophic factors that nourish and protect these cells. Beyond structured learning, curiosity, the willingness to explore, question, and observe, is equally crucial. Reading widely, engaging in philosophical or scientific inquiry, or exploring new cultural experiences stimulates synaptic activity in ways that repetitive or routine tasks cannot. The integration of sensory input, memory retrieval, and critical reasoning involved in these pursuits strengthens the brain's adaptability, fostering resilience against the cognitive decline often associated with aging. Importantly, mental engagement is not about pressure or achievement. It is about creating conditions in which the mind can flourish, preserving clarity, focus, and the capacity for insight. Even simple acts, such as reflecting on one's experiences, contemplating new ideas, or discussing complex subjects with others, serve as powerful exercises for maintaining neural vitality. The brain responds to challenge much like a muscle responds to resistance. Repeated stimulation encourages growth, reinforces connections, and enhances efficiency. By consciously seeking out experiences that stretch the mind, individuals over 60 tap into a profound capacity for continued learning, problem-solving, and creativity, cultivating mental resilience that echoes across daily life, interpersonal interactions, and emotional stability, demonstrating that the intellect, like the body, can remain dynamic, adaptable, and deeply engaged well beyond midlife. Stress is a subtle but powerful force, quietly influencing nearly every system in the body, and after 60, its effects become increasingly significant. The physiological response to stress, mediated primarily by the hormone cortisol, can be both protective and destructive. In short bursts, cortisol helps the body respond to immediate challenges, mobilizing energy, sharpening focus, and preparing muscles for action. Over time, however, chronic elevation of this hormone can erode resilience, impair immune function, increase inflammation, and even affect memory and mood. The nervous system, particularly the autonomic branch that regulates heart rate, digestion, and respiratory patterns, becomes especially sensitive with age, and prolonged stress can disrupt these delicate balances, subtly accelerating physical decline. Yet the body also possesses remarkable mechanisms for recovery, and practices that regulate stress can harness these systems to restore equilibrium. Techniques such as mindfulness, deep breathing, meditation, or gentle yoga operate not by suppressing the challenges of life, but by retraining the nervous system to respond with calm precision rather than reactive tension. This retraining has measurable biological effects. Heart rate variability improves, blood pressure stabilizes, inflammatory markers decrease, and even gene expression related to cellular repair is positively influenced. Emotional regulation is equally crucial. The ability to observe feelings without being consumed by them allows the mind to process experiences rather than being overwhelmed by them, which in turn reduces the chronic activation of stress pathways in the body. Journaling, reflective practice, or even intentional conversation with trusted companions provides outlets for emotional processing, transforming tension into insight rather than weariness. Sleep, often disrupted by age-related changes or stress itself, is a critical mediator in this process. Cortisol follows a daily rhythm, and chronic stress can flatten or invert this cycle, leading to fatigue, impaired cognition, and slowed tissue repair. Practices that calm the mind and nervous system directly improve the quality of rest, allowing the body to repair, consolidate memory, and regulate metabolism. Furthermore, managing stress is not solely an individual endeavor. Social support, companionship, and meaningful engagement buffer physiological stress responses, creating a network of resilience. By cultivating awareness of stress, developing tools to regulate its effects, and intentionally fostering environments that soothe rather than stimulate constant tension, individuals can protect both physical and mental health. Strength in later life, then, is not simply a measure of muscle or endurance, but of the capacity to maintain equilibrium within the complex interplay of hormones, neural activity, and emotional experience, allowing the body and mind to respond to challenges with adaptability and grace, preserving vitality even in the face of life's inevitable pressures. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and the quality of our relationships has profound implications for health, particularly after 60. Science now shows that social connection is not merely an emotional luxury, it is a biological necessity. Strong, meaningful relationships influence cardiovascular health, immune function, cognitive resilience, and even longevity. Loneliness and social isolation, on the other hand, correlate with increased inflammation, higher blood pressure, and a greater risk of cognitive decline, illustrating that the presence or absence of connection leaves measurable traces on the body. Interaction with others stimulates the brain in unique ways. Conversation, shared experiences, and emotional exchange engage multiple neural networks simultaneously, including areas responsible for language, memory, empathy, and executive function. Laughter, for example, triggers the release of endorphins, reduces stress hormone levels, and improves circulation, while acts of kindness and shared purpose activate reward circuits, enhancing mood and motivation. Beyond neurological effects, social engagement shapes behavior in ways that reinforce health. Friends and family can encourage movement, proper nutrition, cognitive stimulation, and adherence to medical advice, creating a feedback loop in which social bonds directly support physiological well-being. Shared activities, whether community volunteering, group classes, or simple gatherings, foster a sense of belonging and meaning, which are critical for psychological resilience. The brain interprets social inclusion as safety, which in turn regulates stress responses and promotes hormonal balance. Even casual connections, neighbors, peers, or acquaintances, can provide subtle but meaningful support, reminding the nervous system that it is part of a larger network rather than isolated, which lowers baseline stress and enhances emotional stability. The depth of connection matters as much as its frequency. Relationships built on trust, empathy, and mutual respect stimulate emotional intelligence, strengthen coping mechanisms, and provide a framework for navigating life's challenges with grace. Technology can extend these networks, allowing communication across distances, but the richness of in-person interaction, with eye contact, touch, and shared rhythm, engages the body and brain in ways that digital contact cannot fully replicate. Importantly, cultivating connection is an intentional practice. Reaching out, participating, listening, and giving support all require effort, yet each act generates reciprocal benefits. The effects are cumulative, influencing not only the mind, but also the endocrine, immune, and cardiovascular systems. As we age, these relationships become even more central, providing scaffolding for emotional, cognitive, and physical resilience. By fostering social bonds, nurturing meaningful engagement, and remaining active participants in communities, individuals over 60 reinforce a web of support that extends beyond the self, creating both a buffer against the stresses of aging and a living source of vitality, demonstrating that human strength is as much relational as it is physical or mental, and that connection itself becomes a cornerstone of enduring well-being. Each of these practices, movement, nutrition, mental engagement, stress regulation, and connection, are threads in the tapestry of health that science is only beginning to fully understand. They are habits that cultivate a body capable of endurance, a mind capable of clarity, and a spirit capable of serene strength, all at a stage of life often underestimated. In embracing them, we do not resist aging, we collaborate with it, inviting vitality, resilience, and depth into our later years.